Good evening, guys. Thank you for joining us. We're just going to give maybe another 10 seconds for people to join, and then we'll get started. Okay, so do excuse me if I pause every few minutes just to allow people in, but I'll try not to. Okay, so welcome to our workshop tonight. I was thinking, since we're all prepping for paper one, I know we're also prepping for awesome, but I was thinking maybe for up to paper one, we'll just focus on paper one content, including all the poems, and then we'll focus on awesome in November. So I have posted, I'm hoping that most of you are on the Telegram group or on, one of the WhatsApp groups, but more likely you should be on the Telegram group, because then you can see the content that we've covered, or everything I've posted since the beginning, which is very useful. I send a lot of notes on the poetry, and even the poems that we're covering tonight. We'll just be going through the actual past paper questions, and then I'll try to fill in some blanks if anyone doesn't know. Yeah, so I did take the last two papers. I took 2020 November, and then I took the rewrite for this year, because you guys have 12 poems. So no jokes, at the end of last year, someone was like, no, we only have 10 poems. And I had to tell them right before finals, no, you have 12. So I'm hoping everyone here knows that you have 12 poems. And also, I can't predict what would be asked. Sometimes they ask them it makes sense, they'll do Taylor Swift and Mama together because there's mom themes or whatever, or dad themes or parent themes, but sometimes it's really unpredictable. So I would never try guess what they'll ask. So the ones I picked were just the last two, which was Sondagaande, which is very deep, the whole thing's a metaphor, and then Taylor Swift, because I do find that a little bit harder. And then because that's also the rewrite one, so it will always be harder than November. And then we've got Mama Kanakniseni, and I already forgot. Oh, Strelitzia. Oh, that's unseen. Strelitzia, which is we go back up. Okay, so both of these poems are mom themes. So those are the ones from last year finals. So what I'm thinking is we'll go through it, just through the questions. And then if anyone doesn't actually know this content, I did post notes on the group. I did try to provide the English as well. It's on the Telegram group. So if you're not on the Telegram group, then just at the end, when I put the thank you screen up, just send a message saying IEB matric, and then I'll send you the link to the group. Otherwise, if your friends referred you, they can just add you on Telegram. It's quite, I gave everyone access, or you can just get the link from them. Cool. So let's go in order. Let's go this one first. And I'm going to refer to the memo so you can see how things are asked. And just before we start this, I actually want to show you what loses people, or what would lose marks for you. So, okay. Well, just if you guys are putting a sentence together, just make sure you include your verb. Because you can't say co-immense for an answer. You have to say is. Okay, so just make sure when you're putting sentences together that you're using verbs. That's really important. Okay, and obviously everyone here is getting different marks, so I have to cater for everyone. I have to cater for the B students, the A students, the failing students, everyone. So I hope you guys are patient. Okay, so Strelitzia, the gist of it, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but just if you look at the build of it, they both stanzas have 10 lines. The poem is about a mom that has a terrible relationship with her son. Let me just read questions. Please send links for WhatsApp groups and notes you mentioned. Okay, so I'm not going to do it now, but I'll put my number on. I'll send you guys my number again, and then here you go. You can just send IEB matric, and then I'll send the link afterwards. Okay, so Strelitzia, I'm sure you guys have covered this, but I know some people haven't. So the gist of it is that it's a mom that has a terrible relationship with her son. The whole first part is about how perfect she is and how she leaves to work at exactly 7 o'clock with a long cigarette between her smooth manicured nails and her luxury sedan. So they obviously have money. And then suddenly she's shocked when to the left side of her symmetrical driveway, she sees that her son clearly kicked the crap out of her Strelitzia plant. So the second part, like line 11, starts with the same as line 1, which is it was already too late to make excuses. That line tells us that she thinks it's too late, to do anything about the relationship. So she kind of just comes up with excuses for why their relationship is bad. And then you can see ja, maar dalk. So that's her coming up with excuses. Maybe if she wasn't so busy thinking of excuses, she could probably understand. Korp tells us understand why her son would kick the Strelitzia. So the Strelitzia could be a metaphor or a symbol for the mom, but it can also be a symbol for the son. I prefer saying it's a symbol for the mom because it just makes more sense. Like he can't kick the mom, so he kicks the plant. Okay, so he's just frustrated. Guys, studying your 12 poems, questions and answers, the easiest way to get those 20 marks. Okay, and then also if you just study, if you guys join the Telegram group, you'll see I put, it's called Poetry Terminology, and it's just like vocab that you'll find in poetry, but like the technical things. Okay. And every time we do an answer, I'm going to show you the memo so that you can see how it's written. And you guys all have access to these papers on the IEB website. Okay, 5.1. Waarvoor sou Susan van Breda as dit nie te laat was nie verskoning maak? So for what would Susan van Breda make excuses if it wasn't too late? So she's saying it's already too late. So it's for her bad relationship with her son. So vir haar seun se gedrag wou verskoning maak. So when you see this little it's not a dash, what is it, a dash, a forward slash, it means these are options. So I know that different schools teach you different things. So like my interpretation would be different from some other schools' interpretation. So I usually just cover all the schools. So haar slegte verhouding met haar seun. So the first option is she would have wanted to make excuses for her child's behavior. The reason that would be an appropriate answer is because everything about her is all perfect, right? Or seemingly perfect. So if someone saw that her son behaved like that, she'd probably be embarrassed. But I prefer the second answer, which is her bad relationship with her son, because that's literally what the whole poem's about. Okay, number 5.2. Die vrou word as mevrou Susan van Breda aangespreek. So the lady is addressed as Mrs. Susan van Breda. Okay, wat suggereer die aanspreekvorm omtrent haar karakter? So what does this aanspreekvorm is addressing her. So what is the way we're addressing her suggest about her character? So this one's easy. You could either say she's formal. You could say that she's a cold person. For instance, if she was all lovey-dovey, it would be like Susan or Mama, or, like mommy versus Mrs. van Breda. Do you know what I mean? So she's a cold person is the easiest because you all know coat or koa means. Kil. So kil, I'm thinking this word is in one of your other poems. Kil just means cold, and then formeel is also easy. You also have that in what's your poem? Aandeel Howard. Okay, so formeel. So those are just easy. So the fact that we're calling her mevrou or ma'am or Mrs. is telling you that she's cold, formal, not a warm, lovey-dovey person. 5.3. Haal een woord uit strofe 1 aan te dui dat die van Breda's ryk is. So quote one word from stanza 1 that indicates that the van Breda's are rich. So if you look at this, the easiest word is luxe, because her luxury sedan. So she moves behind the steering wheel of her luxury sedan. So she wouldn't have a luxury sedan if she was poor, right? So I'm going to read a question. For mevrou, could you mention something about being married? No. Nope. No. It's about her being a lady, like her being important. We don't know that, we don't even know if the dad's involved. We have no idea about the dad. So I definitely wouldn't say she's married. It's more about her character as well. They specifically asked about her character. So what type of person is she? She's formal. Okay, next one, whole een word. We said that Lixa, 5.4, read lines 7 and 8. So let's go check out lines 7 and 8. Skielik geskok. So yeah, we've got alleenplasing of suddenly shocked. Okay, skielik means suddenly shocked. So everything's smooth sailing and then suddenly she's shocked. Okay. So waarom dink jy is die woorde skielik en geskok alleen in versal geplaas? So why do you think, I don't know why they say we think, because it's not about what we think. So why do you think the words suddenly and shocked are placed alone in the line? So obviously when we have alleenplasing, it's to beklemtoon, so to emphasize, but you have to say what it's emphasizing. So what are we emphasizing? We're going to emphasize that she's very shocked. She had no idea this was coming. So let's go down. Oops. So dit beklemtoon hoe onverwags en skokkend dit vir haar was om die stikkende plant te sien. So it emphasizes how unexpected and shocking it was. So you can just say skokkend, because onverwags means unexpected and skokkend means shocking. So just remember shocking because the word's already in the poem. It's just less vocab for you to have to study then. Okay, so just as long as you say it emphasizes how shocked she was to see the broken plant, or that the plant was kicked. Okay, and then 5.4.2, hoe weerspieël die tipografie van versdeel 7 en 8 wat Susan van Breda op daardie oomblik doen? So how does the way that the poem is typed in line 7 and 8 reflect what Susan van Breda is busy doing in that moment? So in that moment when she sees this plant, right, she just moved in behind her car's steering wheel and she's leaving to work. So she's reversing out of her driveway. Okay. So the typography of it is supposed to show us that she's reversing out. I don't know if anyone else finds that obvious. I did not. Okay, so it indicates visually that she's busy reversing out of her driveway. That's all that this says. Today visual on, so it visually indicates that she's busy reversing. So achteruit today is to reverse, and haar oprit. Oprit is her driveway. Okay, so I feel like all the answers and questions for this is super easy. They're all very easy. I feel like that's the only one that was a bit tough. Where are we? 5.5. Verwys na strofe 1, so refer to stanza 1. Noem een ding wat wys dat Susan van Breda probeer om perfect te is. So name one thing. There'll be more than one option, but we just have to name one. Name one thing that shows that Susan van Breda is trying to be perfect. Okay, so the fact that she leaves at 7 o'clock on the dot. So sy verlaat die huis elke oggend stiptelik 7 uur. This word stiptelik means punctually. So she's punctual, okay? Generally people are punctual if they want like things to be perfect. So she's punctual, so she leaves at 7 o'clock. Or the other option is that her driveway is symmetrical. So it's symmetries, geplaveide. Geplaveide just means paved. And then siersteen is the type of, what do you call it, face brick. Okay, and oprit is driveway. Okay, so the fact that maybe her driveway looks the same on both sides shows that she wants to be perfect. I would have also thought maybe the manicured nails, but whenever you answer these things, just do the most obvious one. So the fact that things look the same on the left and right, that's symmetrical, that is perfection. So that's one, and the other obvious one is that she leaves every morning at 7 a.m. on the dot, probably to go to work. Okay, number 5.5.2. Wat is moontlik die belangrikste aspek van haar lewe wat nie perfek is nie? So this is super easy. What is possibly the most important aspect of her life that is not perfect. So her relationship with her son, right? Haar verhouding met haar seun. Simple. Okay, her relationship with her son is terrible. 5.6, compare. So vergelyk is to compare. Compare stanza 1 and stanza 2 with each other. 5.6.1, which word in stanza 1 means that something looks the same on both sides. So albei means both and kante means sides. It's plural. Okay, so it looks the same. So it's symmetries. Okay, symmetries. And it's nice and easy because the word is in the poem. Then 5.6.2, hoe weerspieël die bou van die twee strofes in die gedig jou antwoord in 5.6.1? Noem twee dinge. So how does the build of the poem reflect your answer in the previous question? So in this question, name two things. So I'll tell you that now. I just want to say one important thing. I've noticed people lose marks for not reading the questions properly. Like if they say like this one, yeah, they didn't put woord in bold. So some people might not see it. But if you just read it carefully and then just underline what they're asking for, like they're saying which word. So we only need to give them one word, which makes it easier. So if we, and like when they say op een volgende woorde, if they say like 3 consecutive words, then it's easy because it's easier to find exactly what they're looking for. It will become more obvious. So read your questions carefully. Okay, so for 5.6.2, how does the build of the poem or the two stanzas in your poem reflect? So name two things. So it's half mark, half mark. Okay, so we're talking about symmetries, like how does it look the same? So if you look at the poem, we go up for you. If you look at the poem, look at the build of it. Both stanzas have 10 lines. And we have in line 1 and line 11, we have herhaling, which is repetition. So you can use the word herhaling or you can use repetitie. Okay, so we just want to say that in line 1 and line 11, they repeat the same line. So that's like symmetrical, right? It's the same year as there. And then also both stanzas, both have 10 lines. So it's symmetries. Okay. So reels 1 en 11 is dieselfde, the same, and then each stanza strophe contains 10 lines. You don't have to say bevat, you can just say het. I just want to read this question quick. Watter toon word aangetref met die gebruik van die 3 woorde in reels 12 tot 14? So which tone do we find with the use of the 3 words in line 12 to 14? Let's go look quick. Ja, maar dalk. Like hesitance, I suppose. She's hesitating. She's like, the thing is for 12 to 14, she's trying to come up with excuses. So she's like panicked. Sorry, guys, someone just sent a question, I think, from their stuff. Okay, and then number 5.7, waarvan is die Strelitzia moontlike metaphor? Okay, so this one's easy. We mentioned it earlier. What is Strelitzia possibly a metaphor for? So you can interpret it in 2 ways. It can either be the son or the mom. I stick to the mom because it's the most obvious and the easiest one. So you just have to say die ma, Susan van Breda, die seun, Susan se seun. So these 2 at the end are different options. They're saying it's the boy, and the first 2 are Susan. The reason I say it's Susan is because it's supposed to be all perfect, but it's not. The boy kicked it, and he probably kicked it because he can't kick his mom. Okay. And then Mama kan ek nie sê nie. Okay, I know I'm rushing a bit, but I hope you guys are with me. It's just because I want to get through all 4. So Mama kan ek nie sê nie is a poem about essentially a child that knew that the mom didn't want her, that she's an unwanted child, and that when she looks into her mother's eyes, she can see her mom doesn't love her, and she apparently has known that since before she was born. Okay, so Mama kan ek nie sê nie. If you think about it, this is in Farsi because generally the sentence would be ek kan nie mama sê nie. Okay, and mama's in inverted commas because it's not actually something she can call her mom. It's like saying mommy, and mommy is like a term of endearment or affection and love. And in her case, her mom doesn't love her back, only she loves her mom. Okay, so basically this just says, I remember the angel kicked me into your tummy. This whole thing, line 1 starts and it ends in line 12. There's the full stop and here's the capital in 1. Okay, so it's 1 sentence. So this is enjambment galore. And also the previous one is Strelitzia. Okay, so essentially she's saying that her mom was van die rand of wik en weeg, means weighing up the pros and cons of having this baby. Then the angel in line 1 kicked the baby down into her mom's tummy. And then 5 to 7 is like impossible, they say, to know about a time before time, which just means that people say it's impossible to know anything or remember anything from before you were born. But the speaker says that she knew before she was even born that her mom didn't want her. Okay, and then 8 and 9 says, but I know, I knew then what I know now. And then you see the double pint, which tells us that information is going to follow about this little announcement she just made. We're about to find out what she knew then and knows now. And then 10 to 12 is when you look at me, I'm not in your eyes. So the whole thing, it's called 8-stel technique, okay? 8-stel is to put something off. So it's a technique they use. They also use it in Taylor Swift, where only at the end you find out what the whole thing's about. So only at the end we find out why the speaker can't call her mom mama. Okay, so I usually, if I do one-on-ones, I go through this for like an hour and a half. I'll go through every single note, like, well, I'll do 2 poems in an hour and a half, but we're just doing past papers, so that's why I'm giving like a quick run through. But I still am putting all the notes and translations on the group. If they're not there already, I'll add the rest. You guys can check and let me know. Okay, did I skip 6.1? Okay, antwoord die volgende 2 vrae oor die betekenis van. Okay, so answer the following 2 questions about the meaning of the poem. 6.1.1, choose the correct answer. Okay, you guys always have that instruction, so I'm not going to read it. Die spreker beweer dat sy something geweet het dat sy 'n ongewenste kind was. So the speaker claims that she knew that she was an unwanted child. A is just before she was born. Just after she was born. B is before she was born. C is primary school. D is high school. Okay, so it's B, before she was born. And the reason we know that is because it says van voor tyd se tyd. So I knew before time's time. So her time would be when she was born, and she knew before that. Okay, then 6.1.2, haal 'n versdeel on. Oh, damn. Okay, so it says quote a line to show or to motivate your previous answer. So that's the one I just said, line 7. Okay, tyd voor tyd se tyd. 6.1.2, 6.2. Die titel behoort te wees. So the title ought to be or should be Ek kan nie mama sê nie. 1. Wat noem jy dit as 'n digter die woordorde van 'n sin omruil? Okay, so this is called in fashy. I'm going to show you on the memo. Eminem does this he does this a lot. So it will be, we use in fashy for one of 2 things. Either, and this is what we have in this case, you want to emphasize the word you put first. They also do it in aandeel. So the first word in the sentence or the line would be what you want to emphasize. So that's what we use in fashy for. Or the second reason, and that's not in this poem, just telling you in general, is that if we want to make something rhyme at the end of a sentence or a line, then we might, like, say we wanted to rhyme something with bent, then we'd say to the shop I went instead of I went to the shop. Okay, so it's either for rhyming purposes, te rijm, or it's to emphasize the word. And in this case, we want to emphasize the word mama. Okay, so hoekom dink jy het die digter die woordorde omgeruil? Why do you think the poet omgeruil means swapped the word order? So we just discussed it. It's because they wanted to emphasize the word mama. So die woord mama te beklemtoon. So dit beklemtoon die woord mama. Whenever you guys have to say it emphasizes something, you have to say what it's emphasizing. Okay. Where am I? Yeah. 6.3. Wat 'n short gedig is Mama kan ek nie sê nie. What type of poem is it? So that could be a confusing question, but they just meant like, is it, what type of poem like is it? So rhyming wise. So it's vrye vers. Vrye vers. Okay. So most of your poems should be vrye vers, I think, if I'm not mistaken, because they're like modern. So we have a lot of enjambment. We don't really have a rhyme scheme. It's just a bit more, it's just a more modern type of poetry to keep you guys a bit interested. I think that's why they pick it. We've done that. 6.4, verwys na reëls 1 tot 4. So lines 1 to 4. We'll just quickly look at it. Ek onthou die engel het my van die rand van Wickenweeg afgeskop in jou. Just a quick note on this in line 4. Do you see that distance here and that distance here? Okay, so not only is this alleen passing of this line, but this wit spasie, this white space, is supposed to, because the angel kicked the baby down into the mom, it's supposed to indicate distance between the angel and the mom, but also between the mom and the child. Okay, super deep. But yeah, these little short poems are always deep, same as Sondagaande. So, first one, wie het vir die spreker se ma besluit dat sy die kind moet hê? That's an easy one. Who decided for the speaker's mom that she must have the child? Die engel. That's all you have to say, the angel. 6.4.2. Hoe sou die spreker se ma se lewe onmoontlik anders gewees het as sy self die besluit kon neem? So how would the speaker's mom's life possibly have been different? Anders is different and moontlik is possible or possibly, if she could have decided for herself. If she decided for herself, she would not have had the child. So you can just say, sy sou nie die kind gehad het nie. Where are these answers? Yeah. Sy sou nie 'n kind gehad het nie. Okay, so she wouldn't have had the child. She was still like, should I, shouldn't I? And the angel's like, boom, here's your child. Okay, 6.5. Verduidelik in jou eie woorde wat die spreker in versreëls 5 tot 7 bedoel. Explain in your own words what the speaker means, bedoel is means, in line 5 to 7. So, onmoontlik sê hulle om te weet van voor tyd tot tyd. So, impossible, they say, to know about a time before time. So all they're saying is that people can't know or remember a time before they were born. So hulle sê a mens, you can replace hulle ja with mense. Okay, if they ask you who said that, then you can say mense, just people. Okay, so hulle sê a mens kan nie dinge weet voordat jy nog gebore is nie. So they said a person can't know things before you were born. Okay. Then 6.6. Wat is die funksie van die dubbelpunt aan die einde van versdeel 9? So what is the function of the double punt or colon at the end of line 9? So we said earlier, it just tells you that more information is going to follow. They're about to give us more inligting, so more information. The day on that daar 'n verduideliking gaan volg. So it indicates that an explanation will follow. And what are they going to explain? What they just mentioned, like what they just spoke about, which for us is what the speaker knew then and what she knows now. 6.7. Wat bedoel die spreker as sy in versreëls 11 en 12 sê is ek nie in jou oë nie? So what does the speaker mean when she says in lines 11 and 12, I am not in your eyes? So she means that her mom does not love her. Okay, so this is deep. It's just that the eyes are the windows to the soul, and that when she looks into her mom's eyes, she doesn't see herself there, which means that she is not loved by her mom. So haar ma het haar nie lief nie, her mom doesn't love her, or haar ma gee nie vir haar om nie, her mom doesn't care about her. Haar ma behandel haar nie soos 'n ma moet nie, her mom doesn't treat her like a mom should. Haar ma wou haar nie hê nie, her mom did not want her. Okay, I prefer number 1 because it's the most clear-cut one. So I always do the easiest one. Okay, and the most obvious one. Okay, so I'm going to close those and we're going to do the other two, how we're doing for time. we're doing very well. Okay, so Sondagaande. These little short ones are always the hard ones because they'll be so deep. Like this whole thing is a metaphor. And then, oh, also just the last line. I know we're not doing the line by line breakdown, but for Mama Connect Me Saying that last little part about I'm not in your eyes is clearly obviously a metaphor, right? Because you can't literally be in someone's eyes. Okay, then Sondagaande is the next one, and then we'll do Taylor Swift. Okay, and then next week I'll try do another 4. And then hopefully we can get to the last 4 before your exam. I can't actually remember what date you guys are writing paper 1, but I'm scared it's around the corner. You guys can actually take a vote and let me know what you want to cover next week, if everyone's attending. Okay, so Sondagaande is Sunday evenings. This is, I don't know what scale you guys know this on, a 1 to 10, but it's just 7 lines, which should tell you it's going to be deep. So Sondagaande, it's uppercase and it's in plural. So it's more than one Sunday evening. This tells us that it's every Sunday evening. Okay, it's not just a once-off. If you look at this poem, I think the only punctuation is this 1 comma over here. And then there's 1 uppercase letter in the whole thing, which is this S here for Sondagaande. Okay, so line 1, die aand stuur sy roofvoëls uit in die taai donker, so the evening sends out his birds of prey into the sticky dark. So you'll see this word taai, it means sticky. This is also mentioned in your poem Taylor Swift, and yet in both poems actually it's got a double meaning. But yeah, it means like the night sticks to you, like you can't escape the terrible feeling. Okay, hulle draai eers rond, so first they turn in circles, hoog bo die stad se woonstelblokke, so they're still high above the city's apartment blocks, but maar is always vending, which means a change in the poem. Maar mettertyd circle hulle laer al laer, so in time they circle lower and lower. This is the birds of prey getting closer, which is just a metaphor for his thoughts getting darker and darker and more negative. En sink neer op die krom lamppale, and then they sink down. So then the birds of prey are like sitting on the like the street lamps or the lamp posts. Van waar hulle met skerp oë by vensters intuur. This is the birds of prey sitting on these lamp poles and staring into your soul. And they're watching you in your apartment. Na die prooi, wat elke week seël alleen voor Sondagaande staan. So to the prey, they're staring at the prey, being the victim, which is the speaker, that stands in front of Sunday nights every week alone. And seël alleen is, it's called neologisma. I'm actually going to type it to you guys. So neologisma. Okay, so this is when we make up new words. So what they did was they took the word stokseël alleen, which is the intensive form of alone, which means you're completely alone. And then they just made it seël alleen. So that's called neologisma, in case they ask you in one of these questions. Okay, so the whole thing is a metaphor for this person who every Sunday night they get the Sunday blues because the weekend is over and now they're bleak because here comes Monday with all its problems. So the birds of prey first are like far, then they are getting closer and closer, and then that's just this is actually regression of his mental state, same as in Taylor Swift actually. He goes into a worse space. As the birds get closer, he gets more depressed. Okay, 5.1, complete. 'n gedig sonder rymskema met min hoofletters en leestekens word vrye vers genoem. So this is actually very important. You guys should be able to know how to write this sentence. So a poem without a rhyme scheme, so a fixed rhyme scheme with little or no capital letters and little or no leestekens. Lees is to read. So what signs help us read? Punctuation is called vrye vers. So often they might ask you, what are the characteristics of a vrye vers? Then this would be your answer, yeah. Okay, 5.2. In line 1, we find an example of In line 1, we find an example of it's personificatie because die aand stuur sy roofvoëls uit. Okay, so check how they're saying say, which is his. Okay, so the evening sends out his birds of prey. So it's personificatie. Okay, watter 5.3, watter woord suggereer dat die spreker nie van sy of haar donker binneste op 'n Sondag aand kan loskom nie. So yeah, they were nice enough to put this in bold. So which word suggests that the speaker cannot escape or get away from their Sunday or their darkness on a Sunday? So it's the word tie, T-A-A-I. It's sticky. Okay, it sticks to him. I'm just assuming it's a boy. Then 5.4, haal 'n versdeel met 'n voorbeeld van alliterasie uit die gedig aan en onderstreep die gedeeltes wat geallitereer word. So I hope everyone knows how to quote personification, but when you have to pick, so like the one time I was answering this and I just picked the first one from the top and it was maar meter tyd, but that was incorrect because there's only 2. You always want to tell them the most obvious one. So if you look at line 7, it says siel alleen voor Sondagaande staan. There's 3 S's there. So you quote, you open quote from ja, siel alleen to the end of staan, and then you underline, put 2 little lines under S, 2 little lines under S there and there. Okay, the next one. 5.5, choose the correct answer. Okay, die roofvoël symboliseer die spreker sa. So the birds of prey symbolize the speakers. Whenever you see the word sa, it just means it's like an apostrophe S. Okay, so the birds of prey symbolize the speakers. First one is opwinding. This you need to know for your communicatie anyway. So opgewonde or opwinding, this is excitement. And depressie is obviously, it looks like English, so it's depression. About the nearing week. Naderende is like it's getting closer. So naderende week. Okay, so the birds of prey symbolize the speakers. Depression about the nearing week. And then, actually I don't have to go this far. Waarom herhaal, 5.6. In lines 3 to 5, there's progression about the feeling that a person, what die gevoel van die mens, there's about the feelings of the person on a Sunday evening. Explain the progression. So this is probably the hardest question that you'll get for this poem. So I'm going to show you on here. So they just want you to explain how as the birds of prey get closer, because first they start up far in the air, right? And then they get lower and lower until they just come sit on the lamppost and like stare into his apartment and look at him. Okay, so that's supposed to symbolize how they're getting closer and closer. So it's his bad feelings getting more and more intense. So it's his anxiety building. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So where's this actual answer? Yeah, die gevoel is eers ver in sy agterkop, and then it says hoog bo die stad. So check how nicely this is answered and try like mimic this. So first the feeling is far in the back of his head. So like say he's like chilling on Sunday, he's like, okay, well I know Sunday evening's coming, so that's hoog bo die stad, which means high above the city. Okay, then there's a 1 there because you get 1 mark for that. But later the darkness hangs, or his dark mood hangs like over him, swaar aan sy hele liggaam. So this is like the feeling, the bad feelings like pulling him down. So that hy krom gebuk staan. So krom gebuk, krom, like remember from the poem it says krom lamppale. It's supposed to be you're not up straight. Like if you were happy, you'd stand up straight. If you're depressed, you like slouch your shoulders. So krom gebuk, that's what that means. You're like slouching because you're so unhappy about the situation. Okay, stink neer op krom lamppale. So that's all you have to say. So that's definitely a study one, but as long as it makes sense. Okay, then the next one is done that one. Okay, 5.7. Waarom herhaal? So that's repeat. Waarom herhaal die spreker die woord laar in versdeel 4? So why does the speaker repeat the word laar, which means lower? So if you look, it's where the only comma is. So it's laar al laar. So they're circling lower and lower. That's supposed to be the depression building up or the anxiety building. Okay, so did they vir ons aan dat sy gemoed geleidelik met die verloop van tyd swaarder, donkerder word soos die tyd aanstap. Okay, so you're going to have to pick the words you know or that you think you can cope with. I personally think that met tyd is easier than geleidelik. Okay, so all this means is that it indicates to us that his gemoed, which is his mental state, is slowly or with time getting like heavier or darker. Okay, so you have to pick which word. These are options. So you can choose what works for you. So laat is just supposed to tell us that his mental state is deteriorating. Okay, it's the same in Taylor Swift where first she's like sniffing, then crying, and then she's bawling her eyes out. So it would be beneficial to know how to say this because you'd be able to say it for 2 poems then, if that makes sense. Okay, and then there's 2 more. Sondagaande maak die spreker swaarmoedig of depressief. So Sunday evenings makes the speaker feel low or depressed. Give one reason why the speaker might feel like that. Okay, so maybe the fun weekend or the careless weekend is over, or maybe they're stressed about the coming week and you have to be all responsible and get up early. So there's, okay, I thought there'd be options, but there is not. Okay, so die zorgvrye naweek is verby. So the carefree weekend is over and all the responsibilities of the week are lying ahead, and that's making him depressed. Okay, but anything that you say that's like shows that you understand that the fun weekend is over and now there's a stressful week ahead would be fine. And then the last one for this poem. Hoe beklemtoon die krom lamppale, versal 5, die feit dat die spreker depressief voel. So how does the krom lamppale in line 5, which is like the crooked lampposts or lamp pole things, the lights, street lights, the fact that the speaker feels depressed. So you're supposed to see these crooked lampposts as, let me actually just show you guys. So you're supposed to be, let's take this one or maybe this one. So see how this is not standing up straight. It's supposed to like show that the guy's being weighed down by his troubles. Okay. Yeah, so if he was standing up straight and tall, he'd be happy, but he's not. So his depression is like weighing him down. So he doesn't even stand up straight. His stress is so heavy that it's making him not be able to stand up straight. Okay, let me just show you how to answer that in Afrikaans. Die spreker se skouers hang. So the speaker's shoulders are hanging. Sy rug is krom or his back is crooked. Van swaarmoed. So from like, or depressie. Depressie is easier. Or you could say hierdie depressie, melancholy, swaarmoedigheid hang swaar aan die spreker. So you can just say like his depression is heavy, it makes him not stand up straight. I just want to read this question. Is the word krom letterlik or figuurlik? It's figuurlik because he's not literally crooked, but his depression is weighing him down, if that makes sense. The whole poem is figuurlik, so connotatie, the whole thing, because it's a metaphor. Good question. Okay. And then let's get through Taylor Swift. So Taylor Swift, I don't know if everyone knows this poem, so I'm just going to do a quick run through. So it's called Taylor Swift and it's by Kobus Grobler and it's dedicated to Libet. Libet is his daughter. She was the inspiration for this poem. She was singing this the song over and over and over again. You guys, if you have not, like, you have to go check out just to make this poem a lot easier on yourself. If you just go watch the Taylor Swift music video for this, the song's called The Best Day. You'll see it's for her mom, the song, and Taylor Swift's tight with her mom. So there's similarities, about 5 or 6 between this poem and then the words of the song. There's a few similarities. In this poem, Libet is tight with her dad. They have a close bond. And at the end, we find out why this girl's so sad. And the reason she's so sad is because she realizes that as she gets older and becomes more independent, she's going to lose that tight bond with her dad because she'll need him less. Okay, so line 1 to 3, you repeat her words of melancholy for the umpteenth time. Says, so Libet is repeating Taylor Swift's words. So hard word is Taylor Swift's song words of melancholy because it's a sad song. For the umpteenth time means that she's singing it over and over and over again. Okay, and then 4, we have our leenplasing of the word weer, which means again. So we're emphasizing that she sings it a lot. Okay, and then 5, en no na die hele dag. Okay, so now, this word no tells us now after the whole day at school. Okay, that's the word that tells us after school. So the whole school day is periods of schoolwork, and poses is break time. Alleen, so there they have in line 8, there's alleen plasing of alleen to emphasize the fact that she spends her breaks alone. So this tells us that she does not have friends. Sidral and Diliki Falye, so the only company in line 9 that she has at break is the song in her head. And then 10, 11, and 12, she falls on her bed. She kicks out her shoes, falls on her bed in her sticky school uniform. She's so tired that she just falls on her bed in her school uniform. She doesn't even change. Okay, and the word tire again is sticky. So this is figurative and literal because she can be sticky, like maybe she's sweaty from school, but also the bad day clings to her. And then sing jy die woorde van haar nuutste CD. So you sing the words of her latest CD. Her latest CD, obviously Taylor Swift's. I can't remember the name of this album, but I doubt they'd ask you that. Loaded in MP3. Oh, I think it's called Fearless, that CD. Loaded in MP3. So this girl's got the latest CD and it's loaded on her MP3. That's why she can listen to it over and over. And then it says, Snik heil grensie. So snik, this is either you can look at it as progressie, so progression in the poem, or you can look at it as regression of her mental state. So snik, first she's snuffling, so she's crying a bit. Then she's crying, and then grens is like she cries like without interruption. She's crying uncontrollably, like you cannot help her. Okay, she's bawling her eyes out. And then 19 says yay, so that's just her crying. Okay, and then 20, want. This is the vending in the poem. Usually we have vending with the word maar, which means but now we have it with want, so it means because. So this whole poem, we listen to how sad the girl is, but we have no idea why. Then yeah, the word want means because. So finally we find out why she's so sad. So this says, because for the first time in the mirror, met your pass full trana. So because for the first time in the mirror with your dad's eyes full of tears, what that means is that when she sees her eyes full of tears in the mirror, she also sees her dad's eyes. So that means that he's sad about it too. Verstaan jy, weet jy hoekom bome hulle blare verloor? So you understand and you know why trees lose their leaves. So this whole last paragraph is just about how the dad and her both have the same realization that as she matures and gets older and more independent, their bond will change because she won't need him as much. Okay, 6.1. Na wie verwys die jy in versdeel 1? So this could, okay. So to who does the jy in line 1 refer, and then the haar in line 2? So you'd probably get half a mark for each. So jy herhaal is you repeat. So that's Libet or die dochter. Okay, and then haar would be her words of melancholy is Taylor Swift's words of melancholy. So her song's words. So you can just say jy equals Libet. Let me see if they did it like that. Yeah. They just said die spreker se dochter or Libet en Taylor Swift. Okay. And then 6.2, haal 'n woord uit die gedig aan wat ongeveer dieselfde beteken as hartseer. So quote a word from the poem that means approximately. For you IEB guys, you should know this word ongeveer because they'll use it in your comprehensions. Or net, which means just. Ongeveer means approximately, okay? The same as melancholy. I mean, damn it, as hartseer, and the answer is melancholy. Okay, melancholy means sadness. Haal 'n versie, or 6.3, haal 'n versie aan wat bewys dat sy die liedjie oor en oor sing. You should also know how to say that. So quote a line that proves that she sings the song over and over. So we'd say vir die hoeveelste keer, so for the umpteenth time. Okay, like it's happened so many times you can't even count. That's what tells us that she sings it over and over. 6.4, Hierdie meisie het nie vriende by die skool nie, so this girl does not have friends at school. Is this true or false? Waar, it's true. Motivate your answer because of the word alleen. So you can say alleen in real 8 or alleen plasing van alleen. We just know she's alone. Where is it? Yeah, die woord alleen. Okay, you can just say die woord alleen sê vir ons, so tells us. That would be fine. 6.5, wat suggereer die woorde taai van skool, reël 10, omtrent haar dag by die skool? What does the word taai from school suggest in line 10 about her day at school? So you can either say that it's a long day or difficult day that she experiences at school. I would, because that word taai, it doesn't have a positive connotation. It has a negative one. So dit suggereer dat sy 'n moeilike dag by die skool ervaar, or 'n moeilike dag by die skool het would be fine. Okay, and if they asked you for the letterlik and figuurlik, literally she's probably sweaty, and figuratively it's her negative day sticks to her, moeilike dag sticks to her. And then ja, waarom staan die woorde snik, huil, grens elkeen alleen in die versdeel met 2 feite? Okay, so why do the words snik, huil, and grens each stand in their own line? So basically, why did they use alleenplasing for those words? So yeah, snik, huil, and grens. So it's to emphasize you can either say the regression or the progression of her mental state. Like it's just getting worse and worse. So we'll see how they did it. Om die progressie, verergering van die hartseer te beklemtoon. So the easiest way to say it is om die progressie van hartseer te beklemtoon. Okay, so you have to say emphasize. So to beklemtoon, and then also the progressie, or you can say the regression, but you're welcome to use progression. Okay, and then the last one. Lees versreëls 23 tot 25. Wat wil die spreker hier vir ons sê? Noem 2 dinge. So read 23 to 25. What does the speaker want to tell us? Name 2 things. So it's verstaan jy, weet jy, hoekom bome hulle blare verloor. So this is literally the theme of the poem. So it's that the girl and the dad both realize that as she becomes more, as I've said, as she becomes more independent, their relationship will change. So when they say blare, bome hulle blare verloor, they're talking about the loss of the relationship. So let's see what they said. They said hierdie versreëls verwys na die feit. So these lines refer to the fact that the daughter's starting to realize that their relationship will change. This is the most important part. She realizes that the relationship will change. That's one mark. And the other one is soos sy groter word, or soos sy ouer or selfstandiger word. So that means as she gets bigger or older or more independent. So I'm going to read this question. How do we say sticks to her in Afrikaans? So you can say klo aan haar vas. So sticks to her would be klo aan haar vas. Or you can say sit aan haar vas. Sit aan haar vas. That would also be fine. Okay, guys. So I just want to read the question. What subjective questions could they ask us for Sondagaande and Taylor Swift? What do you mean by subjective questions? What subjective questions? Oh, you mean like from your opinion or your perspective? They could maybe ask you, I don't know. Let me look at the poems. Let me see if I can come up with anything that they could ask you your opinion on. Let me look at Sondagaande first. Let me try think of any subjective questions. They could ask you like, can you relate to this poem? Or do you think the title is suitable? And you'd say yes, because it's a plural, like it's every Sunday night. And everyone, we all know that. Like we all know Sunday Night Blues, I'm sure. So I'm going to read these questions, like our favorite artist and why. I doubt they would ask you that. I doubt they would ask you your favorite artist and why. That has nothing to do with the poem, so I doubt it. Okay, and then Zinhle said daarom. Daarom as in the poem. So I could do daarom next week. I just want to go check everyone. What dates are you guys writing this paper? I just want to actually stop this recording and just have a chat.